arguments? Are you going to let me sit here, or do you need the whole chaise longue for yourself? She'll just take like a third of it. Hey there, I'm author Sarah A. Chrisman.
And I'm Gabriel Chrisman.
And today we're going to talk to you about this piece of furniture we're sitting on, and what you should call it and what you should not call it. So, what we're sitting on right now is called a chaise longue. That's the term from the Victorian era. Comes up a few times in the Tales of Chetzemoka. And that just is French for long chair, because it's a long chair.
It is not to be pronounced chaise lounge, which is a terrible American mispronunciation.
Although that is still far preferable to calling it by the very anachronistic term of fainting couch, which drives me nuts, because that's not what they called it in the 19th century. That was a 20th century term that, especially very recent actually, if you look at a chart of the prevalence of different terms, that one really started being used as late as the 1980s, and it reached its peak in the 21st century, actually, in the mid-2010s, which is crazy recent for an item that is as old as this is. By the way, in the Victorian era, these were also called a box bed, and I'll get back to that in a few minutes, because that term is really fun. So call them a chaise longue or a box bed. I won't argue too much if you call it a divan, but divans usually don't have a back. That's the usual difference. But anyhow, please don't call it a fainting couch. You'll annoy me. And it's also very anachronistic. And I really hate it when we go to museums and the museum docents have been told to call these fainting couches, because that's not the Victorian term. The reason that term was invented in the 20th century, there's a few reasons for that. It's very common in human societies for people to want to look at different cultures from different times or different cultures from different places and belittle them and make themselves feel better. And so the term fainting couch is part of that. It's part of the 20th century people's way of mocking their parents and grandparents and saying, oh, well, these people were fainting all the time. They needed a special couch for when they fainted, which is not the case. Now, a lot of times people will try to claim that Victorian women fainted a lot because they were wearing corsets. But if you've been following me for any length of time, or read any of my books, and seen me riding my bicycle, hiking up mountains, or riding my 80-pound tricycle, you've probably figured out by now that you can breathe quite well in a corset. And I've never fainted in my life. And in the Victorian era, the term fainting was a little different. It had a broader meaning. In the Victorian era in the 19th century, the word faint could refer to anything from feeling dizzy to feeling just kind of sick to your stomach, or kind of weak. It was a very broad term. It did not necessarily mean you were going to pass out. But in the 20th century, when theater, and especially movies and silent movies, most of all, wanted to portray any of these feelings, the dizziness, the weakness, anything, the most dramatic visual way to represent this is to have someone fall on the floor.
Or fall onto a piece of furniture.
Or fall onto a piece of furniture, or fall into the arms of the leading man, which is also very convenient for theater.
Especially when you're watching a theater from 60 feet from the stage.
Right.
In a poorly lit auditorium.
Right. So it was very, very much used in theater. And then again, in the 20th century, when people were making up crazy stories about the Victorian era to make money off of it, really, this became part of that mythology that they were creating. But this piece of furniture, actually, it had some great uses that had nothing to do with being sick or passing out or any sort of fainting. Because, I'll show you, this is really fun. step up. And you're going to have to take the camera now because the tripod's not going to cut it for this.
Yes.
Okay, so first we have to get the little kitty out of the way. We just move her. Okay, now that the little kitty is moved, I can show you why this is called a box bed. So, these were very fun and convenient for when you had a guest. For when your cousins or relatives came to visit, you had a spare bed, which is pretty fun. And of course you would put a pillow right here. I didn't think to bring one in because the pillows are in the other room. But there you go, a box bed, also called a chaise longue. Got another one downstairs, and I can show you how that one works too. So, the best term for this one, actually, it depends on how I've got it set up, because this one's even cooler than the other one. This one, as I've got it right now, this is a chaise longue. But, no, it's a sofa. And now it's a box bed. So, pretty cool. And a lot of them could do that. A lot of them had this sort of transformer technology, which was very fun and very convenient. So, when you see a piece of furniture like this, don't just play into the stereotypes and the mythology, and actually step back to appreciate what it really is and what it meant to the people who used these. Thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a nice thumbs up, and remember to tell your friends about my books. Happy reading!